Ladies and gentlemen, the Modern Warfare beta has officially been launched, and you can go ahead and play if you have pre-ordered the game or if you have a code or anything like that. On Saturday, it will go as an open beta, so anyone who has PlayStation is actually able to play it, which is pretty exciting. But today, what I wanted to do is go through the beta and show you everything new added into the beta. There's new weapons, new perks, attachments, you name it. We're going to be talking everything new in the game. Even some smaller little features like things you can do with your Activision account. That is what this video is all about, just to keep you guys informed with what's new in Modern Warfare. Now, I got some good news. I do have a bunch of beta codes to actually give away, so if you want to win one, there's a couple ways you can do so. The first way is simply on this video, leave a like rating and leave a comment down in the comment section with beta and then which weapon you are looking most forward to using. So beta, MP5, beta, AK-47, something along those lines, and then I will pick a bunch of random winners from that. The other way you can win beta codes is as soon as this video goes live, I'm going to be live streaming over on Twitch, and I will be giving a bunch of beta codes away throughout that live stream. So if you want to check that out, that'll be the first link down in the description, and hopefully I see you over on that stream tonight. Now, let's go ahead and actually talk about what is in this beta to start things out. So right now, it's kind of limited. There is Headquarters, Domination, and Team Deathmatch. There's no Realism mode or anything along those lines. Those will be added throughout this weekend and next weekend. There's no 32v32. That is, I think, coming next weekend. I don't think it'll be there this weekend, but we'll have to wait and see. On top of that, there is 3 different maps, and right now there is only 6v6 and 10v10. That is all that's in the beta as of right now. There's also only 10 levels, so the weapons that you can actually use are pretty minimalized. However, you are going to be able to work your way all the way up to level 30 once they unlock that level cap. Right now, that level cap is at 10, and they'll be unlocking that throughout this weekend and next weekend, similar to what we talked about before. So currently, that is everything in the beta. But they showed us a bunch of new things that are actually in there that we are not going to be able to use, but will be there for the full launch of the game. You'll see what I mean in a second, but let's start out with new weapons. There's a bunch of new weapons that they showed us in this beta. So starting out with the assault rifles, the first one we have is a new one. We haven't seen anything about this. It is called the Kilo 141. I don't know anything about this weapon. Like, I don't know fire rate, how fast it shoots, or anything like that. I just know it's a new weapon to the game, and it's a weapon you are seeing on screen here. The second one is the FAL, or the FAL. This one, generally speaking in Call of Duty games, is a semi-automatic assault rifle, so I'm curious to see whether or not there's going to be select fire with the FAL, or whether it's just going to be semi-automatic and semi-automatic alone. And then finally, the one that everyone was waiting for, the FN Scar 17S. This is very similar to the Scar H. It's going to be a high damage, slower fire rate assault rifle. Everyone always loves the Scar, and I'm definitely looking forward to this one. And by the way, these weapons are of course on top of the ones we already know about in the game. Moving on, we get to see our first look at the P90. This is a weapon that I told you guys was in the game before, and now we are actually getting to see it a little bit. After that, the PP19 Bison. We actually saw this in a teaser picture, and this one we've seen in previous Call of Duty games. It's generally a really fast firing SMG that's kind of good at short range. So that's our first look at this weapon, and the one I'm the most excited about, we haven't seen this in a while in a Call of Duty game, is simply the Uzi. This was one of those weapons you'd use as almost like a trolley weapon back in Call of Duty 4. Really happy to see this one return. So moving on to shotguns, the first shotgun we have is the R90 shotgun, and this one is actually like a double barrel shotgun that you can shoot 2 shots really quickly before you have to rechamber. It should be a pretty decent shotgun. And then the second one, which I'm really excited about, is the Origin 12 shotgun. This is a semi-automatic shotgun, and this weapon in real life is known for having an incredibly fast fire rate, so I'm guessing that in-game you are also going to be able to shoot this thing pretty fast as well. Moving on to our LMGs, the first one we got here is the SA87. This one was actually in the alpha, but under a different name, like the L86A2 or something like that. But this is the same weapon, just a different name. Next one we have is the PKM. I think this is going to be one of those LMGs that just have a gigantic magazine. And then the MG34. We knew this one was going to be in the game, we just didn't really get to use it much. Now moving on to marksman rifles, the first one we have here is the EBR-14. This one is the same as the M14 from the alpha. They just decided to change the name of it. The second one is the Kar 98 98K. So as far as the Kar 98K, I'm curious to see whether or not this is going to be a one-shot kill anywhere other than the head, because generally marksman rifles, you got to shoot someone in the head to get that one-shot kill. But this weapon in previous Call of Duty games is pretty much like from a belly button and up one-shot kill. So I'm curious to see what they do with that. And then finally, we've got sniper rifles. So the first one we've got is the Dragunov. This is a weapon we've seen in previous Call of Duty games. It's a semi-automatic sniper rifle, so generally speaking, a two-shot kill unless you get a headshot. And then the second one is the HDR. So this one we've actually seen before in some gameplay. It appears as though it was silenced, but it's actually not. It turns out that this one just has a slower bullet velocity, but it still does devastating damage, which means it's generally speaking going to be a one-shot kill. You just might have a little bit more bullet drop with this weapon. Moving on to pistols, we've got 3 new pistols. First of all, the X16. This pistol is supposed to have a kind of higher fire rate, lower damage kind of pistol, similar to the M19. After this, we've got the 1911, which is kind of your just run-of-the-mill pistol, average fire rate, average damage, average accuracy. And then finally, the last pistol we have is the 357 Magnum. This one I'm looking forward to using because it doesn't have quite as much damage as the Desert Eagle, but I'm interested to see if it's still going to have that one-shot headshot that the Desert Eagle does. And then launchers, we have 2 new launchers. The first one is the RPG. This is the one that's good for anti-personnel. This isn't going to lock on to anything or anything like that. The second one is the Javelin from Modern Warfare 2, aka in this game it is called the Joker, which I thought was hilarious. They're naming it some sort of like trolley name, because I know it's kind of a trolley weapon back from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. So these are the new weapons that we haven't really seen before in Modern Warfare, at least in the multiplayer or anything like that. So as far as weapon totals, this brings us up to 28 primary weapons and 9 secondary weapons, which is a total of 36 weapons. Now the rumor was at launch there would be 45 weapons, so there is a pretty strong chance that by launch of the game, the full game, there's still going to be more weapons than this. Now, as far as the beta goes, there's only 30 levels, and we aren't going to be able to unlock all of these weapons, so I don't totally know why they put all of them into the game, but they did. Now, speaking of which, there is a thing you can do in game where you can go and look at the ranking system, and it actually shows you what you unlock at every single level, all the way up till level 30. I thought this was a pretty cool thing to add in. The big question that it brings to me, though, is what does this mean for the final launch of the game? There's a rumor going around that there is no prestige system. So is there just going to be 1,000 levels? How is this going to work? And as of right now, at the top of the screen, it only shows 30 levels. On top of that, I noticed from playing the game, you level up incredibly quickly. It only took me about 5 games to get to level 10, and I wasn't even playing very well. So clearly the leveling system, you level very quickly. So I'm curious to see how this is going to work without prestiging. Now, speaking of leveling up, we can't talk about that without talking about weapons, because weapons have a crap load of attachments in this game. And to unlock different attachments, you have to level up your weapons. And the way that they show you this is when you go and look in Gunsmith, and you go to the top right, it'll actually show you what your next 5 attachments are that you're going to unlock. Now, the thing I don't like about this is you can't scroll through this list to see what all of the attachments you can totally unlock are. You can just see the next 5 that you're going to unlock. And then when you unlock them, you can then attach them to your weapon and see them in that menu as well. After this, we have a couple of new field upgrades. It doesn't appear as though we're going to be able to unlock these during the beta, but they are in the game. The first of which is Dead Silence. I found it interesting that this is a field upgrade. If you didn't already know, field upgrades are a thing that you only get a few times through a game, like a specialist ability. So Dead Silence is one of those, and the other one that looks really interesting is the EMP payload. This is basically a kill streak that you can call in, and it drops an EMP payload on a specific location, and it takes out any electronics within that location. It also appears as though it actually can kill people if you direct impact them with it, like you see in the video there. Now, one thing that surprised me is that there's no new kill streaks in the beta. One thing that we saw previously was a mountable turret that was like a 2 or 3 kill streak that is currently not in the game. You can't even see it on the screen. So apparently there's going to be more added into the final game. The next thing that's new in the beta is a couple of new operators. The first one is Reigns, and he is part of the Coalition. He's the character that you are seeing on screen here. The second character is for the Allegiance, and his name is Minotaur. It's the character that, once again, you are seeing on screen here. Now, another thing that I found out today is that each individual character is going to have their own little backstory, and they actually provided some of the backstories in the beta. So I'm just wondering, would you guys be interested for me to cover that in future videos? I know I did that in Black Ops 4, and a lot of you really liked it, so let me know if you want to see that in Modern Warfare. The next thing we have is perks, and there's a couple of new perks, and there's also a couple of perks that they've changed the perk slot to. So the first new perk we're looking at here is Quick Fix. So what this one does, killing players, capturing objectives, and holding objectives will increase your health regeneration rate. This is an incredibly powerful perk because almost every time you get in a gunfight, you're going to be damaged a little bit, and then when you get the kill, you're going to heal faster. Really powerful perk, definitely going to be one of my most used perks once it's actually in the game. After this, we have a couple of perks that just changed the perk slot. So first of all, we got High Alert. This used to be a perk 3. It is now a perk 2. This one notifies you when an enemy is looking at you. You get a little flash on your screen. And this one is an incredibly powerful perk, and I think they put it here to compete with Ghost because both are very powerful, and now you have to make a decision as to which one you want. Perk 3 now has Tracker, which used to be a perk 1. This is good. I don't think there's a lot of really insanely good perks in perk 3, so this one actually might be one I use now because it won't compete with any of the perks in perk 1. Now, the rest of the things we're going to talk about in this video are much smaller things, little details, things you may not have noticed when you started playing the game, not like new weapons or anything like that. So the first one is now your Call of Duty game is linked with your Activision account. So one cool thing about this is it no longer uses your gamer tag for your name in game. What you may not know is you can actually go onto the website and change what appears in game. All you have to do is look for your form name in your profile, and you're actually able to change what your name appears as in game. I thought this was a pretty cool feature, and it makes it so that you don't have to have the best gamer tag in the world, but you can still have the name that you want in game. I thought that this was pretty cool. On top of that, another new feature, I think this is mainly for PC players, but you can do it on console too, is whispering. So if you go to one of your friends, you can actually click on Whisper and type out a message and send it to them, which is pretty interesting. Now, another new feature is that you can actually change your hit marker sound. So you can actually change it between the Modern Warfare hit marker sound, the classic hit marker sound, or no hit marker sound, which I thought was just a really interesting feature. I haven't really listened to them to hear which one is best, but I thought it was interesting. Now, the last thing I have for you is if you're playing in a party and you either save a teammate or you avenge a teammate, it'll actually pop up in the kill feed. As you can see here, it says, "You saved Lazy." In previous Call of Duty games, you'd get a medal. This time it just pops up in the kill feed. But ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much that. That's about 31 new features that they have added into the beta. Let me know down in the comments which things you did like, which things you didn't like, which things you think they still need to add. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Personally, the one thing I'd like to see them add is the mini-map. I know it's a little bit controversial. Once again, you can let me know what you think about that down in the comments. The other thing I wanted to say is, like I said before, if you want to win a beta code, make sure you either comment down below, leave a like rating, and then the other thing is you can check out the live stream, which will be the first link down in the description. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and like what you see here and want to stay up to date on everything Modern Warfare, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn notifications on. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.